Joy Reid and Don Lemon, cast-offs, one from CNN, the other from MSNBC. Man, they are struggling to make it out here in these YouTube streets and just away from the corporate media legacy. They've been saying some really, really crazy things. And we're going to bring on Shamika, Chad Jackson, Virgil, and Wilfred Riley to talk about it. Let's start with Don Lemon, a classic, love the fruit, hate the tree Negro. He's married to a white man, but he thinks white men are broken, or a white man has broken Don Lemon is probably more accurate. Let's play SOT number 11. Here's Don Lemon.
Men who look like you, men who vote like you, and men who sound like you. White men, something is broken. Something is cracked deep inside when so many of you believe the answer to fear, to loss, to change is violence. Are you listening to me? I hope I'm saying it loud enough for the people in the back.
That's such an incredibly stupid and easy to refute, rebuke, retort. It's just, I don't, Don Lemon has always been difficult for me to understand. This feels almost intentionally stupid so that he can be mocked and ridiculed by people that disagree with him, so that he can spark a conversation about, because people start coming, have you looked at the statistics on the violence among black men? Did you look at the violence that happened as a result of George Floyd and Jacob Blake and Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown and Eric Garner, and so on and so forth? Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Here's the second one, and this is from Joy Reid, equally as stupid. This is Joy Reid describing fascism and how Donald Trump and MAGA is going to return us to fascism. Let's play SOT 12.
Is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right. That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things.
Joy Reid almost, when I heard that, I was like, is she talking about heaven? No taxes? I get to earn as much as I want? I get to leave it to my family? Man, that sounds awesome. When we say make America great again, if that's what they're talking about, man, sign me up immediately. Let's get to our panel without further ado. Wilfred is the voice we haven't heard from the longest. So we'll start with Wilfred. Wilfred, who's made the dumber statement here, Don Lemon or Joy Reid?
I'd probably, it's tough competition, but I'd probably have to say Joy Reid. You know, Don Lemon, I mean, I think everyone on the panel knows this, but, you know, crime is high across the board in the USA. But if you look at murder, black murder rate, 7 times the white murder rate. So, I mean, there are some white-dominated crimes, too, but that's an absurd racist thing to say. But Joy Reid, yeah, I mean, first of all, she doesn't know what fascism is. I mean, fascism is, you know, it's a system, business and government working together, blah, blah, blah. But secondarily, Jason, I mean, we're on the right here. So, I mean, when you said this sounds like heaven, you kind of stole my joke. I mean, she went through, you're not going to pay taxes. The government's not going to be involved in every aspect of life. You can leave 100% of your money to your son or your little girl. I mean, I would be very comfortable, you know, keep basic laws against murder, some race stuff in place. I'd be very comfortable going back to that world. So I'd have to give the award to Joy.
Shamika, who's the dumbest here?
Well, I would say Don confused me because when he talked about something being broke, I didn't know if he meant broke off, like in him, he was breaking it off in his white male partner. I wasn't sure. But as far as the dumbest, it would definitely be Joy. You know, I've seen a lot of women dye their hair bleach blonde because trying to hide the grays. And I had been thinking about it, but now I'm wondering if that bleach is seeping into her brain and just causing her to sound real dumb. That was the silliest thing she said. And I thought what she said about Charlie Kirk when she thought she was revealing something deep and hidden when she talked about the man who actually helped him get started with Turning Point. But I think this one took the cake.
All right. Joy Reid, the leader in the clubhouse. Chad, you agree that Joy Reid dumber than Don Lemon here?
Well, first, let me just say that I feel like I finally made it since I'm on a panel with the great and hilarious Shamika Michelle. And it's cool to see, I guess, a sixth panelist on the panel with Wilfred's cat. So there's that. It is I don't know. I think they're kind of tied. It's interesting because with Don Lemon, I think that this is an exhibition of what the kids call crashing out in public. When you look at, since his departure from CNN, he just been spazzing out and crashing out ever since. I remember when he reprimanded his audience because they weren't following him as much as they were following some conservative influencers and commentators. And he said to them, like, he's the one who's doing the most truth telling, and he's the one who's bringing the facts and calling truth to power. Why aren't you all following me? And we also see with Don Lemon how he went on Piers Morgan's show and was saying that he's not right nor is he left. He's just for truth, which we know that's anything but true. He is a leftist through and through. And then when you look at, Joy Reid, she's making all these claims against fascism, which I'm not sure she knows what the word means. But what she's doing is an exhibition of Marxism. She's a Marxist through and through. She believes in centralized power. And I think, that clip tells us everything we need to know about that. So for me, it's a tie. What they're saying is both, what both of them are saying is equally stupid, in my opinion.
2-0-1. Virgil, where do you come down?
I'm looking at both of them as equally stupid. However, I'm going to give the lead to Don Lemon, and here's why. He should have. When you go back and think about Don Lemon's trajectory, initially, he was actually on the air talking about Black fatherlessness and the need to have Black men in the homes. There was a time when he was honest about things, where he would say things like that were helpful for the Black community. Since then, he's come on and I guess needed to appeal to his leftist donors to the degree that he's acting as if the whole world is about to crumble down because of white-on-white violence or white crime or white criminality. And the idea that white people, one of which he's quote unquote married to, I put that in air quotes because there's no such thing as gay marriage, is a white man. And so if white people are this detriment to society, white males in particular are broken. I won't even go into what Shamika Michelle just said about being broke, but how in the world is he married to one? That makes absolutely no sense in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. It's absolutely stupid. I'll just say this as it relates to Joy Reid. Her estimated worth is somewhere between $5 and $11 million. And for her to hold on to any of that after what she just claimed is fascism, she would have to call herself one as well. So none of these things make any kind of sense. They're looking outwardly rather than opening their eyes to see that everything that they're talking about actually has an inward impact and really says more about them than it does about anyone else.
That's right.
Wilfred, one of my big takeaways from these two guys back to back saying this is like a DEI commercial, that CNN and MSNBC weren't picking the best and brightest. They were actually picking perhaps two of the dumbest to put in these positions, and now left to their own devices, I mean, we get to see how disconnected they are from truth and common sense. And it's I sit there and watch that. I go, oh, no wonder Shamika Michelle would never get a job on MSNBC. No wonder Wilfred would never get a job on CNN.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why no one watches this crap, right? I mean, I think this is something that's pretty important. Like the major network news channels for a very long time went all in on diversity. They went all in on these pseudo-intellectual types from the political left. And I mean, you can check how that worked. Like when Jimmy Kimmel briefly got canceled, I looked up his numbers, and in the core demographic, whatever that 18 to 49, he had 129,000 viewers. I mean, Jason, you're, I assume, beating that number by a good margin. I have 150,000 followers on Twitter. So to some extent, this is a facade. You have this sort of, this is the real media. This is what's on in airports. There's nobody's paying attention to it at all. And I mean, Don Lemon, he's not even a part of that ecosystem anymore. He's filming YouTube shorts from his truck. So I do think that we're kind of getting to see what's behind the veil. And kind of last point here, I made a comment about Ta-Nehisi Coates on social media the other day. I had a bit of an exchange about that. But there's this whole world of these guys, and they're not all black, right? There's Professor Ibram Kendi, there's Ta-Nehisi, there's Don Lemon, there's people on the View panel that was kind of trotted out during the end of that 2020s BLM eras. These are the intellectuals. These are the experts. These are the people you have to listen to. But they're all morons. And I think most people are starting to recognize that and saying, no, we're going to find other sources of information. Anything's better than this.
Help us grow the Fearless Army. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all your fearless friends.